Narrative Nation, what's up? Welcome back to the couch. It's Casual Friday. Once again, we're here to break down the fights for all you casual fans and give you the narratives to watch for. Before we do us a favor, a few favors, in fact. Like, subscribe, comment, and do us one more. Follow us on The Narrative MMA at The Narrative MMA on Instagram. That's where you can get the surveys, interact with our content, and of course get the casual breakdowns where we give you the big bullet points. See, how you feeling, man, after that huge UFC 266 card?
Feeling great. That card was amazing as expected. It was pretty awesome. Favorite part of the whole card though was the Valentina fight. Once we said last week, she's like pound for pound, maybe the GOAT, other than Amanda Nunes, which they were talking about it after the fights, is having that super fight again. Let's see these two women back at it again. Give them some time. Let Valentina pick on the weight, get right, and let's see that fight again. I mean, one of the quotes she said in one of her interviews were like, "The fighters never come in broken." Right? But when their plans and the extra things they've been working on all through camp get in there and they try it and they try and they try and it doesn't work, that's when she sees her opponent start to break. And that right there is just insane.
Yeah. They start breaking within a few seconds. That's what she said. Incredible, man. Yeah, I think that's probably a fight we all want to see. And I personally gave Valentina the second fight, so I'd love to see it. And as far as favorite moments, man, I mean, there was just top to bottom good moments. Marab Dvalishvili, or I can't say his name, but Marab getting a great win where he had to come back from adversity against Marlon Moraes. Yes. You got I mean, they're just top to bottom. Nick Diaz, that was kind of an interesting back and forth. But what was your take on that, real quick?
I looked at it, it's like it was a good fight, right? It looked like a hard sparring to me. I never seen Robert really sit down on any punches. Like, not even one time, not even head hunting, trying to find that one big punch. I think he went the cardio route, and it looked like hard sparring. They both was hurt. They both had each other hurt. But I think the gas tank of Nate just wasn't there that night on the nose of the fight. It just wasn't there. So we want to get to see the full Nate Diaz as we're used to seeing, but to have him back and see him back was great.
It was. I really enjoyed it, and then when he got the nose break, I believe it was a broken nose. He just said, "I'm done." So you're right. That's nowhere near the Nick Diaz of past. But look, considering the guy's been off for 5 years doing God knows what, I think he looked pretty good, and wouldn't mind seeing him in there again, but against a real selective opponent like a Damian Maia, like a jiu-jitsu guy, something like that, But anyway, good to see him back, and glad nobody got too embarrassed or too hurt. It was an okay showing by both guys. And then my very favorite moment of the fight or the card had to be Alexander Volkanovski, Alexander the Great. What a fight, man. Definitely got fight of the night. I don't know if it was fight of the year because I don't think it was competitive all 5 rounds.
Arguably round of the year. That third round. I mean, the fifth round. Third and fifth round for me.
Third and fifth. Yeah, it was incredible to watch Brian Ortega slap that nasty mounted guillotine on Alexander Volkanovski, and to watch him struggle and fight his way through that, somehow survive, which I thought, surely he's going to tap. He did not. And then to get locked into the triangle, and don't forget, Brian T-City, Triangle City, that's his nickname. That's his signature move, and he didn't tap from that either. And in fact, he ended up just coming out of that a wild man, posturing up out of the triangle and just dropping bombs on Ortega to the point where his coach had to lift him up off the ground, peel him off the canvas, which in the post-fight, come to find out, Alexander didn't know that. And he said, I heard, once he heard that from a media member, he said, is that illegal? You're not allowed to touch your guy. So very interesting, man. But anyway, we got to move on. We got a good card this week, a sneaky good card. Let's just start with Brazilian Cowboy. What you got to say about Cowboy Oliveira, not Cowboy Cerrone?
What is a good fight to be? Like, he's fighting Nico, and which is two people fighting fire with fire, man. They're going to go in there, and it's going to be interesting. Two people with heavy strikers, not a lot of groundwork, but at least unless Nico's been working on something that he wants to display or want to prove or just want to show what he can do on the ground. Other than that, I think it's going to be a firefight. I think it'll be something that it won't take long, maybe 1 or 2 rounds, in my opinion. If they both come in like they usually do, I think it's going to be great.
Yeah, to me, this is the people's main event. This is my main event.
Yeah.
Cowboy Oliveira entertains from beginning to end, strumming his guitar, dancing. He is fun at the intro, and he's fun during the fight. He maybe not the most technical fighter on the roster, but he comes to fight and he brings it. And he's going to get met force for force, fire with fire, like you say, with Nico. If you don't know Nico yet, check out his KO against Rude Boy Randy Brown, who actually was Brazilian Cowboy's last opponent and beat him. So they're both coming off losses. So I think they're both coming in with something to prove. Fight of the night written all over it.
Yes.
But that's not the only set of fireworks on there. Big Mouth is on the card. What you think about him?
Love him. A pure striker, right? But what his things in the past has been his wrestling. And not once he get on the mat, get his back on the mat, it's hard for him to get up, find a way. So hopefully this time off has really got him up to speed. Hopefully he can get out of some of these situations once he get on his back and kind of find his way to the fence, get back, stand up to really use and showcase his skills with his striking. Kyle.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Go for it, bro. Talk about Kyle.
Kyle. I haven't seen too much of his fights, so I'm interested to see how he does coming up with Oliveira.
Yeah, or with Holland. Yeah, I agree, man. So if you're not familiar with Kevin Holland, I call him Big Mouth. That's his kind of adopted nickname. His official nickname is the Trailblazer, and I think he is blazing some trails. He first rose to true stardom in 2020. He was one of those guys who was extremely active during the pandemic, took, I think, either 4 or 5 fights that year, and included a career-ending KO of Jacare Souza. Excuse me, it didn't end Jacare's career. Jacare fought one more time and got his arm snapped, if you recall that. So
it was brutal.
Super brutal. Jacare was a legend, but Kevin Holland had secured a brutal KO victory over Jacare. And it was just a banner year for Big Mouth and his willingness to fight, his activity. He just made him a fan favorite. So he finally got a big shot. He got a big shot against Derek Brunson, who you guys met a few weeks ago when he got a good – who did he beat? See? He got a good win a couple weeks ago.
So Derek Brunson just beat
Darren
Till.
That's right. And, Brunson got an explosive KO, ground and pound KO against Till. He really just kind of grinded out Kevin Holland. He couldn't get that finish. So, Kevin's wrestling or lack of wrestling got exposed. Same thing happened to him against Marvin Vettori. He's coming off 2 losses, and he's been training his wrestling nonstop. If you check out his social media, it's really all about going to wrestling school. I'm excited to see what he can do. This guy, Kyle Dawkins, I'm with you. I don't know much about him. I know his brother, Chris Dawkins, is coming off KO at heavyweight last card, and he called out Stipe Miocic for the police officer versus firefighter fight. So that's his brother, and I talked a little bit last. Oh, absolutely.
Great mic appearance.
And I talked a little bit last week about how brothers can really help promote each other. This brother's coming off a loss against Phil Hawes. If he can get a big win here and capitalize on his brother's excellent microphone performance, I think we got a potential star in the making. But, dude, you got to get the win, and beating Big Mouth is no easy task. We'll see how it goes. And who's on that main event?
Then we have Johnny Walker versus our boy we took pictures with.
Bring
it home.
Thiago Maretta, the Sledgehammer Santos. Yeah, we do have some. Maybe we should post that on that. Don't forget that at TheNarrativeMMA Instagram handle. Maybe we should post a picture with Thiago Santos there. But yeah, Maretta is incredible, man. He is a sledgehammer. Fought Jon Jones extremely close. A lot of people thought he beat Jon Jones. Truth is, I don't think he really beat him.
Ask his knees. Oh my God.
So if you're unfamiliar, Thiago had a great fight with Jon Jones, who's a dominant champion. You know, there's a whole nother narrative about Jon Jones getting arrested after his Hall of Fame induction last Thursday. So Jon Jones. But C says, ask his knees. Yeah, super unfortunate. But C says, ask his knees. Thiago basically left, and had to get both of his knees totally reconstructed after the Jon Jones fight. Since then, he hasn't been super active. I believe he's coming off a loss, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, actually, he's coming off 3 losses in a row to Jon Jones, to Glover Teixeira, and to Alexander Raychik. So what do you think about Johnny Walker?
Up and coming, right? Came out, was very explosive. At one point, was looking to challenge Jon Jones. Like, we were thinking he may be the guy that really take Jon to, or possibly take the belt, right? Had a freak accident, celebrating in the cage. Had that accident, come back in and took a loss. But I think, he's saying he's mature. He's coming back. He can come back better than ever. He's been really focusing. So I'm ready to see the new Johnny Walker, the new improved Johnny Walker.
Yeah, and I was with you, man. I thought he might have been the guy, at least physically, who could have contended with Jon Jones, because he's just as tall. He's got an extremely long reach. He's a freak athlete. And super explosive. He's got a great set of KOs, but he's been KO'd too by Corey overtime, Beastin 25-8 Anderson, who is now in Bellator. So, one narrative I might highlight. This is that Brazilian versus Brazilian. We saw this a few weeks ago, right around when we first started the show, with the legend Jose Aldo versus Pedro Munoz. Brazilian versus Brazilian. It might have been a passing of the torch for that Brazilian market to get a potential Brazilian champion. And I think that's what's going on here. So I think the UFC is looking for or potentially hoping for Johnny Walker to get the win so they could have a potential Brazilian candidate for the contender. Yeah. So number 5 versus number 10, that's a big jump for Johnny and a good opportunity for him. So we'll see what happens. Any other closing thoughts regarding this card?
No, I think we touched it. I think it's going to be a good fight. It's going to be an exciting fight. Hopefully it's explosive. Hopefully we see some new techniques, some new skills from both fighters.
Yeah. And, I've mentioned other cards like this since we started the show. Some cards don't have as much name recognition or star power, but they do. But that's when you can potentially see some of the best fights. And so I urge you to tune in this weekend, this Saturday, because I think some of the fights on this just have fight of the year contender written all over it, between Cowboy, Walker. In fact, all 3 of the top cards, or the top fights on the cards certainly have that potential. So check them out. Get the casual breakdown from us at our Instagram at TheNarrativeMMA. And don't forget to like, subscribe, interact. Tell us what you think, man. We want to hear your feedback. Until then, enjoy the fights.